So, this is gonna be a short stream.
Move alive, boys. We've got company. Shove off. We got nothing for dealers here.
Jacob, don't you ever get tired of offending people?
Not even if you stood on your head. Time was. People in Paradise used to have principles. Principles like get what's mine and keep yourself to yourself. Then you came and memories got short about that sort of thing. But the Sparrowhawks, we remember. We're doing a sight better than you. The Emperor's favourite envoy, killed as soon as he shows up. Not your finest hour. Is that so? What are you playing at?
Careful, don't give away all your tricks.
Ah, that vixen at the bathhouse put you up to this. I wondered if there might be more to her than a pretty face. Well, forget it. You can't have it. How many times do I have to tell you to fuck off? You leave that death guard out of it. All right, but listen close. I'm not gonna repeat myself. The day I got it, I saw Ludwig's men sniffing around the docks. Now, they didn't cross my path, but I don't believe in coincidences. That shipment is cursed, and dealing with you numbskulls is one thing. But the Garrote? That's another. What? So you can take it to him and rat me out? A good one.
If the steel garrote are onto you, you're lucky we found you first.
Ah, shit. Yeah, I had a feeling it'd come to this one of these days. Better a crooked adherent than Ludwig wearing my skin. Take it. Go straight to the bathhouse. And don't let anyone follow you. If this makes it back to me... Go on. I'm sick of looking at you.
Likewise. Honestly. One is tampered with. A crate and lockbox inside falls open to reveal satchels of woodsy, bracing smelling herbs. The scent identifies them as hella parsley, common to the Edaner mainland. Small doses can prevent a pregnancy. A larger dose can end one. Interesting. I've been up here.
Did Juliana throw you out?
Don't test me. Piss off.
Dato won't be coming around this week.
What's the matter? Has he done something?
He bores me to death, that's all. He knows Ambassador Hilgard, so we can't throw him out either.
Any sign of my shipment?
You just have to look.
You did? And I thought I could talk my way out of anything.
Makes you appreciate why the Empire sent him here.
Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. It's nice to have found at least one Adiran I can rely on. Come back anytime for a hot bath or a cup of tea. My door is always open. Clients always want curtains. They never want to scrub the mildew.
I can't stop worrying about the dream scourge. What if it happens to us?
Has that face fungus clogged your ears as well? Away with you.
No one's come to claim him. I suppose I should see them.
There are spells now.
Keep your helmet on. He's only been there a day.
Envoy, hello. I'm glad to see you on your feet. Kai.
Tej.
I'm surprised they let you in here.
I'm surprised you're still gainfully employed. No one's come to claim him. I suppose I should see.
My friend! Any... Oh!
Envoy, hello. I'm glad to see...
Tej.
I'm surprised they let you...
I'm surprised you're still gainfully employed.
It's nothing like that. You run into all sorts of characters around here, is all. Some more polite than others. I didn't mean anything by it, Envoy. He's just curious company for you to keep.
Hey, somebody has to have the envoys back, because you all sure did.
No one expected the Envoy to get assassinated.
Exactly. Amateurs. Well,
Kai?
come on, it's funny. Tej caused a ruckus last time he was slumming it at the Ballarrock. You were trying to kill a man, if I remember right. I had to put you outside.
You threw me into the canal.
You lived.
That water's filthy. I had the runs for 3 days.
Gods, Tej. The envoy doesn't need to know that. Yeah, but now you'll never think of Tej the same way again, will you? And now he'll never think of you the same way either.
Let's not make more of it than it was. I shouldn't have said anything. The fellow cheated me. I couldn't let that slide. Or he'd think we were all marks.
It was over a dice game, right? Tej here has a gambling problem.
Great. Let's air all my troubles. Is there anything else?
The bartender sleeping with your girlfriend.
You're lying.
You sure about that?
We'll talk about this later.
I'm not breaking up with her for you. Just so we're clear.
That's more than enough. Thank you. Was there anything I could help you with, envoy? The 7-foot-tall Aumaua with biceps the size of my head? No, I am not.
Flatterer. You know I'm barely over 6.5.
Naturally, sir. How can I help you? What would you like to know? If you're looking for a particular year, the first thing you should know about Paradise is that this isn't the kind of place where the locals keep records. And though it might be considered a distant backwater by the rest of the world, this city is the height of civilization by the standards of the living lands. As for who calls this place home, I suspect you could find a criminal, confidence man, or prophet from every civilization in the world here.
Hey, come on. You're gonna give the envoy the wrong idea. We've got draft dodgers, courtesans, and revolutionaries, too. You know, all the fun people.
In any event, as far as I can tell, Paradise has been this way since its inception. Thus the eclectic display of architectural styles. If nothing else, this city is a reflection of the countless people who have passed through it on their way to the interior. Depends on who you ask. Ambassador Heelgard will tell you that our remit here is to establish a secure and orderly environment from which to engage in trade. Inquisitor Liudwin will tell you we're here to break the frontier.
So, which is it?
Why not both? That's where you come in. Whether you find your desires aligning with the ambassadors or the inquisitors, neither can succeed until the Dream Scourge is ended. We are only beginning to see its effects here in Dawnshore, but the closer to the center of the island you go, the worse it gets. That bear you and the ambassador encountered in the Strangle Route isn't even the worst of it, and the tide of this soul plague is rising higher every day. Look, for all that I complain about this backwater, there are good people here. Same as anywhere else. People who want to be able to walk to the market in the morning for their bread and eggs and know they won't be mugged. People who like it when the mail comes on time, and their skates are made from real copper, and their neighborhood peeping Tom ends up in the stocks. Those people, good and honest people, who pay their debts and honor their contracts and remember to thank the gods, they like us a lot. The Resistance, as such, are largely a group of misfits and criminals intent on undermining the rule of law. They take out loans with small Adiran banking houses and do not pay them, then assault the bankers who attempt to collect. They agree to contracts with families in Adir seeking homes, and when their ships arrive, promptly abandon them. When we levy a small tax to fund the repair of city roads, they set our counting house on fire. And when our fishermen return to port, they board their ships and sink them.
That's certainly one way to characterize them. It's not exactly wrong, but it's not exactly right either.
For decades, people like them ruled this city through fear. We imposed order, and now they oppose us. You, unfortunately, were caught in the crossfire. I'm an open book. There's a lot of ground to cover. Could you be more specific? Ah, the age-old question. Who's bigger? Adir is, naturally, by a wide margin. And were we at the Cartographers Guild in High Crown, I could show you on one of their globes. As it is, we must make do in the theater of our minds. The Living Lands are located in the far north of Aora. Adir is southwest of the Living Lands, situated along the equator. The Living Lands are more arid than Adir, and the island is more prone to storms. But its many deep valleys protect the various townships from the worst of the weather. Topographically speaking, the Living Lands are a place of extremes. Deep inland, mountains rise high enough to rival those of the White March, blanketed year-round in snow. While east of the volcano of Mount Forja is an acid sea that sinks far below the level of the ocean. The lands between them are riven with deep clefts in the earth and isolated by wastelands of sun-baked sand dunes. I'll share what I can. There is no singular authority in the Living Lands.
Not yet, anyway.
I shudder to think what the Living Lands would look like under your rule.
Well, to start, there'd be a lot more brothels.
Charming. Power is invested in the leaders of the various townships scattered across the island. The largest are Fjord, Thirdborn, and Solace. None of which, I will note, are as safe and orderly as Paradise. Fior Messaverno is located in a valley known locally as the Emerald Stair, named for the terraced rice paddies that cover its hillsides. It is our closest neighbor. The city, if you can call it that, was founded 50 years ago by animancers from the Valian Republics. Apparently, the laws governing animancy weren't lenient enough in the Republics. So the city's founders came to the Living Lands, where they could practice their discipline more freely. Currently, Fjord is governed by a man named Ignacy Vidaro. Rather inept to hear the ambassador talk about him. Fjord's farmers supply most of the grain and vegetables we eat here in Paradise. Or it did. Their shipments have been infrequent lately. Something about a blight in the fields. In any event, I believe that covers Fjord. The Valian Republics are a collection of city-states in the Eastern Reach, southeast of our former colony, the Deerwood. The Republics began life as colonies of the Grand Empire of Valia, hence the name. But as Grand Valia's economy collapsed, well, the colony saw an opportunity to escape the influence of the Empire of Origin, and they seceded, much as the Deerwood did from Adir. Now a mature confederation in their own right, the Republics have recently indulged their own expansionist ambitions in the Deadfire Archipelago. Through their merchants in the Valian Trading Company, the Republics will sell you anything you could ever wish to buy.
Up to and including people.
We should count ourselves lucky they've had no interest in the Living Lands. In a struggle between our Emperor and the Republic's great dukes, well, I doubt we would come out on top. But if anyone asks, I was not the one who told you that. Everything you need to know about Thirdborn is in its name. It was founded by the Third-born children of Rawatai, Navy dropouts, smugglers, and hands for hire. Almawa and Orleans, mostly.
Home, sweet home.
You're free to go back any time you like.
I like my current circumstances just fine, thanks.
They are people, in short, who couldn't cut it in the civilized world, and had to make room on the margins. Unfortunately, they are currently besieged by the Dream Scourge. We have sent some troops to lend what help we can, and the mayor, Temerity, was appropriately grateful, but I don't know how long they'll hold out. Rauatai is one of the old empires, every bit as storied as Grand Valia or our native Adir. If Adir is to the southwest of the Living Lands, Rauatai is to the southeast. And unlike our home, their small continent is racked by terrible storms. This is due, or rather, was due, to the island's proximity to Andra's mortar, the unending super hurricane that once hid the ancient city of Ukaizo. Rauatai is largely peopled by Aumaua, descended from those who fled the Deadfire Archipelago centuries ago, when Andra pulled the moon, Ioni Brather, into the sea. They are an aggressive, militant culture, and personally, I find their obsession with gunpowder rather quaint. They are also our chief rivals on the world stage.
I don't think they see it that way.
No?
Well, as far as Navy brass is concerned, Adir doesn't really rate.
Now you're just making things up.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we don't think about you at all.
Solace is, what is there to say, really?
Yeah, they tend to have that effect on people.
The trouble is, I don't know much about Solace. Nobody does. They are an isolationist community of Pagrunan dwarves who live in the forbidding ways of Galawain's tusks. They don't let outsiders into their lands, and they don't let their people out of them.
Some folks get out from time to time, but they can't ever go back. And the ones who survive aren't eager to talk about their experiences.
People aside, the land itself is incredibly hostile. The island's volcano, Mount Forja, rests at the heart of the region, and it's recently become active. Half the land is lava rock, and the other half is, well, literally lava. I don't know why anyone lives there. I have to assume they're all insane.
You have no idea.
Naturally. The Pagrunan are a unique community of mountain dwarves originating in Old Valia. As a people, they've made their name as explorers, builders, miners. No doubt you've seen their ruins in your travels, here, back home in Adir, and all across the world. They maintain a rich tradition of oral storytelling, chanted magics, and ritual carving, which they take great pains to record and transmit across their various communities. Even the most physically isolated Pagrun is not alone. Somewhere, one of their people is thinking of them and planning an expedition. Abidan must cherish them.
You sound like you admire them.
I suppose I do. By all means. Consider yourself lucky. Inquisitor Ludwine is the commander of the Steel Garrote in Paradise. Were you to ask her, she'd say she keeps the peace. But she doesn't keep it so much as prosecute it. As ruthlessly as the ambassador will let her. She's also a veteran of the Steel Garrote's campaign in the Deadfire, where she died.
She's a Death Guard. Well, that explains a lot.
I don't know what happened to her there, but I suppose Wodika wasn't done with her yet. I only met her once. She was a mid-level member of the Steel Garrote then, chasing Oathbreakers who'd fled Adiran law. She'd come back to the Imperial Archives to borrow a map to a place called Oathbinder's Sanctum. I remember she was furious because the map was quite poor. She worried about finding the place, about properly executing her duty to her god. She wanted, I think, to do a good job. So, while clearly she has changed, in some sense, I'd say she's much the same. Death Guards are surpassingly rare. Some of the secretaries who traveled with our dignitaries in the Deadfire spoke of one named Iser, a devotee of Berith, who guards the hanging sepulchres there. But I've heard of no others except those I've read about in the histories, or, as you say, in stories. They are people, most often paladins or priests, so devoted to a cause that they simply refuse to pass on to the wheel when they die. Their soul haunts their body. The passion required to sustain them devours their flesh, and they swiftly turn to bone. I've never read a history nor tale of a death guard that did not end with them going quite mad. When they lose their capacity to care for anything but their cause, they cannot love. And when they cannot love, they cannot be merciful. And so everything before them becomes only an obstacle. Think upon your promises and die. That's the litany of the Steel Garrote, usually said right before they kill you. They're an order of paladins born and bred in Adir, though clearly they've found plenty of work beyond our borders. Their remit is simple but comprehensive. They punish all who break their oaths. In practice, that has historically meant contracts. One lord or merchant will hire the Steel Garrote to bring a duplicitous rival to justice.
Fun bunch. What are they doing in Paradise?
Since the events in the Deadfire, their operations have expanded. The Steel Garrote has always been associated with Wodica. Now, they are explicitly her order. And they go wherever Wodica's priests, or Wodica herself, believes there is a need for them to go. The Living Lands are a dangerous, lawless frontier in sore need of order. Thus, they are here. Or so the Steel Garrote say. Do you think so? I've always found her inflexibility comforting. Wodica's edicts are clear. If you obey her laws, pursue justice, punish the guilty, and give fealty to the Emperor, then you have pleased her, and I aim to please. But Wodica does not trust. She demands that you declare yourself for her again and again. Her every request is a test, and her every test is an opportunity to disappoint her. I appreciate a god who makes you work for their grace. I don't want anything given to me for free. Of course. I trust whomever told you to consult a watcher also told you to avoid the one in the city. She is a liar and a thief.
Oh, did you take your money?
No. Anyway, watchers are individuals capable of perceiving souls. The soul may be in a living body, or it may simply be lingering, waiting to pass into the in-between. In either case, interacting with a soul allows a watcher to glimpse a person's past lives or their most deeply buried memories. Watchers are incredibly rare, and in Adir, highly controlled. Many people wish to know who they were in a previous life, and do not like what they learn. The smart ones stay hidden. They do not announce their powers, perhaps not even to themselves. Even a careful watcher risks inadvertently revealing themselves by knowing something they shouldn't know. Of the ones that are public, little is concretely known. But we hear things. They make good judges in Wodica's courts, so long as they're controlled. The lords, it's rumored, buy and sell them to collect blackmail on their enemies. But I suspect many watchers are imprisoned or executed, or simply kill themselves. A watcher doesn't need your cooperation or consent to read your soul. They could learn everything about you, terribly damaging things about your parentage, for example, or things you did in a past life, without you ever knowing. You see how this could threaten the established order, undermine our betters' right to rule.
Yeah, but that's just one side to it. Imagine how a watcher feels, knowing what a threat they are to the status quo. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be keen on kings and emperors wanting me dead. Sounds like a lot of hassle.
Don't sell yourself short, Kai. I don't doubt you're an expert in people wanting you dead.
You're not wrong.
I rarely am, in any case. The Watcher is fundamentally a tragic figure. Of the few that survive our world, most are destined to go mad. Yes and no. So far as I understand it, a Watcher is born a Watcher. But it takes an event, often something shocking or traumatic, to bring a Watcher's powers to the fore. So you may be a Watcher, or I may be, or Kai, and we might not even know. Well, the Watcher of Cadnua is legendary. It was their castle Aethys destroyed when he began his campaign of terror in the Dead Fire. Oh, by the Queen, I hope I get to meet them someday. In terms of local interest, you'll have heard of Runed, of course. And there was Ida. You may not know about her. She was a Watcher from the Living Lands. I believe she was an Orlin. She must have died, 150 years ago. Slain by a great serpent, gods treat kindly with her soul. Doubtless there are others, but most don't meet a good end. I don't think so.
The Envoy is right. You're basically a Watcher encyclopedia.
Why should a secretary be limited to knowledge of filing systems and how the ambassador takes his tea? I was a boy once. Watchers were a special interest of mine when I was young.
He sounds defensive to me. Does he sound defensive to you, Envoy?
I am not a Watcher.
Exactly what a Watcher would say.
Both of you, please, your fun puts me at tremendous risk. This isn't a subject the Inquisitor takes lightly.
All right, all right. I know you're not a Watcher, Teach. You'd be better at dice.
Apology accepted. I'm an open book. Off freak, I did. Terrible shame what happened to his brother. It sounds like his injuries were severe. I saw you two talking. I hope you can help him, Envoy. Oh, that's a relief. Cadman is a good kid, cannier than his brother, and wasted on those glorified tomb robbers. You're the only one we have with the expertise for that kind of field work.
Aside from the people in trouble down there, which says something to the danger in that cave.
Whatever I think of the Expeditions Corps, they serve a vital purpose to the Empire. I'm glad it's you going after them. Well, you'll notice I'm nearly always here. If that man sleeps, I don't know about it. He wouldn't say, but I believe he relied on the Claviger far more than he lets on. And without the Claviger's steady hand at the rudder, the ambassador's struggling just to bail water from the sinking ship that is Paradise.
Claviger Aemon might have tolerated a little more chaos than the ambassador liked, but he kept this place humming. He's not someone you can easily replace, and not with one man alone.
It's a difficult job. The pressure sometimes gets the better of him. But if he loses his temper now and then, I can't blame him for it. Better him than me. He doesn't know what to do with himself. You know, in our first days here, he'd often walk to the end of the docks at sunrise. The work was done, the embassy was closed, and he'd still be wearing the same clothes he'd slept in at his desk. And he'd just stare out over the sea. He always seemed dissatisfied back then. I suppose, years later, he still does. Be serious. Most of us here didn't get sent to the frontier because we were anybody's favorite. The longer I'm here, the more likely the people who matter are to forget me. And I'd actually like to get back to High Crown someday. Get married, have a few kids, take the civil exams, and settle into a permanent clerkship.
I guess there are worse ways to spend a life.
Like rotting in this embassy. Of course. Should you ever need me, I will be here. Safe travels, Envoy.
Lots of information right there, I tell you what.
Envoy, is it really you?
No. Elder Edmund, I know the blighting of the stringer root is a cause for concern, but I must strongly discourage any trade deal that involves buying additional crops from Fior Mezzaverno. We cannot endorse the blasphemous trait of animancy, much less welcome it to our dinner tables. Inquisitor have been in Emerald Stair long enough to confirm our worst suspicions. The people of Fior Mezzaverno care not for the laws of mortals or gods. Animancy and folk magic are peddled in defiance of Boudica. Their crimes are innumerable, their way of life intolerable. All is not lost. Politically, they are unstable, too focused on themselves to notice us. Our eager hands tightening the garrote. We will wait your order, your friend in the forest. Lord, dialects. We'll just put that in the old. Must admit, it isn't proven possible to build diplomatic relations. The locals have a natural distrust of outsiders. We have nothing they want. Inquisitor Lodwin believes that time and pressure will prevail. Would that I shared her confidence. Lodwin, under her gaze, I feel scrutinized down to the bone, picked apart like Karen, and stared through by a pair of cold, motionless eyes that have glimpsed too far beyond the veil, reducing me to some depraved pilgrim who prays only for her ossified claws to work their way under my skin, liberating me from this pathetic envelope until at last we are bound together as a skeletal pair, limbs intertwined not as two beings, but as one. There's no shame in being attracted to power. Nevertheless, must keep such feelings to myself, lest they be met with revulsion, or worse, enthusiasm. Ha ha. Sounds like he's got a thing with the Inquisitor, eh?
I can't believe you're alive. When they dragged you to Liviana's clinic, I assumed the worst. How do you feel? Not even death can slow you down, I see.
But we'll return to the topic of your untimely demise shortly. Our first order of business is your purpose here in the Living Lands. You said you had a missive for me from the Emperor? Very good. I'm eager to see what our Emperor intends. Now, His Majesty names you a loyal servant of the Adiran Empire, and an extension of the throne's authority. Thank goodness. At least someone understands the gravity of our situation. Here's something to tide you over, but your work isn't finished just yet. You've seen how wild the Living Lands has become, both in nature and in politics. Sometimes I think the island has a mind of its own. No sooner had you arrived than you found yourself at the center of our troubles. Trust me, we'll get to that. This embassy has no shortage of political foes, but the Dream Scourge is what keeps me up at night. You've seen firsthand what it can do in nature. We can't let it reach the cities. Thank you, Envoy. The island is in capable hands. Inquisitor Ludwig thinks the plague is a distraction. She's more concerned about these local rebels fighting against the Empire. At least rebels know the meaning of negotiation and compromise. But a plague kills indiscriminately. Though, Even I must admit the rebels have gone too far. They've sabotaged our work, killed our soldiers, and the final straw, attacked you out in the open. Indeed, the killer sent a message, but this is our chance to send one in return. I won't lie to you, Envoy. Our position is tenuous. If we can't even defend ourselves, how are we to defend the living lands? But defend it we must, for the sake of everyone who calls this island home. Inquisitor Ludwig demands that someone hang for the attempt on your life. These Paradisen rebels must face justice. The choice is yours, as will be the consequences. All I ask is that you use your best judgment.
Not many get a chance to solve their own murder, you know. I know someone who could help. A dwarven tracker named Marius. Kith or beast, there's little he can't find. He's staying at the Grinning Ballarrock, not far from Liviana's infirmary. We just take the main road east to the market, then head down the stairs and cross the canal. Rough part of town, even by the standards of Paradise. Marius is from the Tusks, about the harshest and remotest place the gods ever created, even by the standards of the living lands.
Trickery, lies. The gods did not build this place.
Let's just say no one survives out there without picking up a few skills, the kind we'll need if we're going to find hidden assassins. Especially if they're from the streets of Paradise.
I suggest you recruit as many allies as you can, but choose carefully. They, like you, will represent the Empire. But before we can send you off to parts unknown, we need assurances from the local healer that you're fully recovered. After all, you survived a brush with death. The health of your body is one thing. The health of your soul is another. An unusual course of treatment, but who am I to argue? Remember, the assassin is out there. You have the element of surprise. I suggest you use it. Oh, I wish I could see the killer's face when they realize the hunter has become the hunted. We'll talk more of the Dream Scourge when you return. Until then, Envoy.
How about we start with Marius at the Grinning Ballarrock? Besides, I could use a drink after all this.
So, you're the one they all crow at. Ha! The mighty Marius, deep in his cups, ready to take on the deadliest prey, providing they're asleep at the time.
Right. Take another sip of my cool. Rude not to finish a drink someone bought for you.
No wonder you're hiding behind a mug. You're too worried about being polite to survive out there.
The dwarf there is Marius. Best tracker I know.
I heard you're from Solace Keep. How great a survivor could you be, hiding behind stone walls all your life?
You don't know anything about me, you Adira Nimdut. So maybe go back and take another blessed day sip.
But here you are. Tell me, how does one get kicked out of a place that never lets anyone leave?
Dukte Drago Sakasat Jitule. You want to talk so much, I'll cut you a second mouth across your throat.
Marius can handle himself. Of course, if you're bored, we could always start something anyway. I think this is about to get interesting.
I knew you were blessed in Nimdut the moment I saw you coming. Thought maybe I'd teach you a lesson. So I paid the bartender a few gold to drop a tiny bit of Widow's Kiss into a cup and serve your drink in it. Cramp should be starting in a few minutes, so, if you want to fight, we should go ahead and get started.
You know your stuff, but I doubt they do.
Envoy, you see? Will you stand by and allow this maniac to poison a fellow subject of the Emperor? Oh, I can feel it. Gods, you.
Oh, that is quick. You better get to a healer before the poison spreads to your brain.
You wait, Marius. I'll be back. Hopefully.
Ugh. Wow.
Oh.
Well, that was something.
Marius, this is the infamous Adiran envoy. Envoy Marius.
Well, any friend of Kai's is definitely a person. You know your poisons. It was a test. That guy's such a Nimdut, he thought he was doomed. And he actually believed I could pay the bartender to poison someone's drink. Gods, the taverns in Adir must be rough. Smart. The effects are more widely known. Let their imagination run wild on them. Noted. If I'm not mistaken, you're looking for someone to help find the people who killed you. The more I know, the faster we'll find them. But all right, keep your secrets. I need to see the scene of the crime, over by the town gates. I promise there's something left that we can use to track them. Then they wouldn't need much of a reason to go after an Adiran official. Plenty of stale water there. Still, it's dangerous to make assumptions based on stereotypes. We need more of a trail to go on. We'll figure this out, Amakul. Don't you worry.
Known to be the best hunter and wilderness guide in the Living Lands, Marius has lived all over the Living Lands, but there's no place he truly calls home. Uses ancient peregrine stealth and survival techniques to gain the advantage over his foes, trapping them in gripping vines or disappearing from sight to ambush them with a silent attack. His senses are attuned to detect threats and objects scattered across the living lands. Finding roots. And then Hunter Scent orders Marius to scan for enemies, loot, and plants in the living lands. Oh, interesting. Means I can...
One moment.
Guess there's nothing around.
Right here. This is where the envoy fell.
If it were me, I'd take the shot from up there above the embassy. Let's see if we can get up there.
Flask is empty, but it reeks of swamp water and rancid flavors.
Smells familiar, but I can't place it. Whatever it is, it's not used for game hunting or keeping beasts out of your garden. You already met the apothecary. I'd suggest we pay him another visit.
Seems like a good place to start.
It tells us they were hunting you. Whoever did this takes pride in their work. They made sure this stuff would kill you. Go back to the market and up the stairs to the east. You'll see a large building with a big window on top.
The Mermaid's Den. Nice place. We should say hello to Juliana while we're there.
The apothecary is in the back alley. Any luck? We could track down who made this poison. Find your killers.
One HP in the dream right there.
That's the apothecary you're looking for.
All you have is not enough.
I'm telling you, there's no coin left. Business has been slow.
Fine, we'll make a deal. I can break your arms, or I can break your legs.
This can't be happening. Help!
Huh. Aren't you the outlander who died in the streets? How are you... Gah, it doesn't matter.
You've got to help. He's gonna hurt me again.
Everyone take a deep breath. No one is hurting anyone else today. Right?
You seem to like beating up on little guys. Want to take a run at me?
Listen to me, dead man. What happens here does not concern you. Walk away. Ha! You Adyrans always think everyone's out to get you. If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead already. This is getting tiresome. I wasn't really gonna hurt the apothecary, but I'm really, really gonna hurt you.
Last person I know who did it died with her boots full of saka.
Well, I heard the godlike have gold in their bellies. We can't both be right, so let's see who's wrong. Stand still, Outlander. This is gonna hurt.
Oh no, you don't!
Hey! Get him, boy!
This time, you're gonna stay.
Just when I thought this would be.
Turn around.
Isokso!
Try.
One moment.
I can't believe they're dead. It's over.
Nice work.
Envoy, thank you for dealing with those miscreants. There's a plague on these streets, and they are a symptom.
A gang of bullies shaking down honest folk? Seems more like the cause to me.
It's no more dangerous here than anywhere else. It's just that monsters here have knives instead of fangs.
You even killed Thala, the biggest, baddest of them all. The Sparrowhawks are gonna come after you. They don't. That's the problem. You don't have to come to my defense. No one sticks their neck out for anyone in these parts. Ah. I suppose I don't mind paying off the lesser of two evils. What'll it be today, Envoy? I know you didn't come for herbal remedies. Poison? Let me take a look. Wait, I recognize that from my wares. It's oil distilled from Santa Torre, a berry native to the Living Lands. Hey, look, the Living Lands is a dangerous place. All right, take a nap in the forest and you'll wake up dead more often than not.
Not if you know better than to take a nap in the blessed A forest.
Walking through the streets of Paradise is supposed to be a safer proposition. Yet, our friend took an arrow that was coated in this stuff.
And before you ask, I can't tell you who bought the poison. If word got around that I was ratting my clients out to the Adherents, it'd be the end of me. I hate carrying a debt. Just don't tell anyone you learned it from me. The truth is, I never saw the customer's face. They wore a hood. A monk's cowl, I believe. But I can tell you that Santa Torre is used in religious rituals. Prophets and seers will do anything to leave their bodies. I have nothing to hide. Not anymore. Just talking to you has put me at odds with Paradise. I have no wish to be at odds with Adir as well.
If you want mystic types, you want to go visit the Temple of Andra. Probably the only reason you'd want to go there.
On the other hand, Claviger Amond was cozy with plenty of mystics and oddballs. We could check out his estate for clues.
Go past the Hightown Gate to the north, then follow the road eastward until you reach the statue of Andra. Easier said than done, believe me. I hope that I've been able to assist you in some small way. Good luck in your investigation, Envoy.
So we're going to the temple to find a mystic to ask about the poison. Not what I imagined my day would be like.
Hey, hold it!
Watch yourself. Take your best shot.
You think you can just take out our leader?
More like it. Better part of Avowed.
Show me what's our number one. Kill them! To your left! Envoy, to your left!
This one's mine.
Take out our leader!
Take it. Well, now that I've cleaned this place out. Should be good to go. Didn't go up here. High Town. Kinda wanna try to go there. It's outside the town. Pretty sure.
Keep quiet. Jungle cat.
One moment. Who's there? Let's go!
I got it.
Unique weapons. Unique weapons are highly coveted. Each has its own story, and each is enhanced with powerful primary and secondary enchantments. These weapons will provide some combination of passive effects, stat increases, elemental damage, distinct behaviors, even more. Explore the living lands and complete side quests to find the unique weapon that best suits your playstyle. Unique weapons can have their primary enchantment further improved or augmented at the enchanting station in the party camp. Augmenting a unique enchantment replaces the original enchantment, is permanent, and requires a variety of specific enchanting materials to perform. Upgrading across tiers can be upgraded up to 3 times within their base quality tier. After that, they can also be upgraded across quality tiers with the additional resources. Upgrading a unique item across quality tiers requires the use of Adra and its variants. Creature can be found in areas of high challenge or derived from breaking down your other lesser used unique items.
Well, that was fun.
Was it? Let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
Castel's Fall. A reminder that nothing good comes from messing with powers you don't understand.
Yeah.
Look, Marius, if you ever want to talk about anything, you know I'm here, right?
Right. Appreciate that, but I'm all right.
If you ever change your mind, the offer stands.
Okay, Amakul. I'll keep that in mind.
Listen, I wanted to talk to you about Juliana. I know you're not asking my opinion, but for what it's worth, I appreciate you understanding her situation. I couldn't agree with you more. Out here, you've got to live and let live. Principles are one thing, but you can't let them get in the way of basic decency. I wish more of your countrymen took that view. Rebellion's more like our natural state of being in the living lands. People on the island don't much like being told what to do. In fact, many come here specifically for that reason. Paradis used to be a lot more violent. Now, bandits like the Sparrowhawks at least have to limit their activities. Of course, that change has come thanks to Ambassador Heelgard's Adiran troops. And the Stilgarode. Ludwine and her paladins have been busy in the hinterlands. It's all rumor and speculation, but I don't think they're making your cause any friends. I think you're right. I don't know that these rebels are all that organized yet. But where there's foam, there's rocks, as the saying goes. So did my commanding officers. You're asking me? Okay, who do you want? Long enough that he's got a good roster of stories about my blunders in the wilds, which he'll remind us of constantly. He's got a soft heart under that gruff exterior. He feels things more deeply than he lets on. So, if he burns the stew one evening, maybe don't mention it. Yeah, given everything that comes with being an envoy, I bet that's especially refreshing for you. And don't worry if he starts badgering you. It's his way of showing he cares. Okay, but only if you let me turn that question around once I've answered you. I think you've been trusted with a nearly impossible task. When we first met, I thought that was because you made some powerful enemies back home. But as I've gotten to know you, I think that if anyone can stop the Dream Scourge, it's you. At the end of the day, I'm proud to fight alongside you. And there you have it. Your turn now. Oh, well, that's nice of you to say. I don't mean to be rude. That's just more praise than I've probably earned. Enough about me, right? Sure. What do you want to know? Knight, envoy.
Alright, that's where I'm gonna call stream. Appreciate you coming out and watch. Catch you later.